All right. Just so y'all know, we're going to be live on YouTube. So if you want to leave your cameras off, that's perfectly fine. Just want to make sure I let you know. We're going to do Cyber Thursdays here. Have everybody join us so we don't have to switch over. So we don't lose these labs here. All right. So what were we doing again? Okay. Let's see. Let's refresh this. All right. Now you see the high. All right, you see the high now. You see how it ranks it to the 7.5. Let's open it up. Okay, now this is the full and fast scan we just ran. All right, and once again, you see how it categorizes it by vulnerabilities, severity. You have your host, you have the ports. Okay, based off of this, right, you're going to prioritize the vulnerabilities that you want to try and mitigate, right? That's what the team is going to do, right? Whether it's a vulnerability team, but you still want to loop in your patch management team. Why? Because the patch management team, they're the ones more than likely who are going to be installing these patches to fix the vulnerabilities, right? So you all have to work together. You have to keep a good relationship with them. And anybody, why do we want to be a little bit skeptical or hesitant on that CVSS score that we get from the vulnerability scanner?
They don't know about your firewalls and protection that you have.
Right. They don't know. Sometimes they aren't able to detect our countermeasures, our protection. Good job, man. So, and you want to keep that in mind, because you don't want to be the boy who cried wolf to your patch management team. You don't want to be the girl or the boy who keeps yelling, there's a vulnerability, there's a vulnerability, there's a vulnerability. And the patch management team, they keep going out. They get onto the box and there's no vulnerability. The file you said was there isn't there, or the service that you said was there is not there, right? It's just the old, maybe some old files are still there. Yeah, that's going to ruin that relationship between you and the patch management team. It may not ruin it, but it'll make things a little bit frustrating. All right, so you always want to identify the true positives and the false positives. Right, that you want to take that into consideration when you're prioritizing which risk you want to go into. Hopefully Lawrence got my message on Discord. So you remember, all right, so I just opened up that high vulnerability. Okay, it's SMB vulnerability. We'll talk more about this when we get into that section. I do not want to overwhelm you. Let's just look at the output, the results here. All right, so you get the summary, why the scanner detected it as a vulnerability. Okay, the evidence. Most importantly, you have that solution. Okay, usually vulnerability scanners like Nessus, they'll give you a link. If there's a patch available, they'll give you a link to the patch to go and download and install the patch. Okay, just because you're the vulnerability analyst in Nessus or OpenVas or Nexpose, whichever scanner you're using, just because it gives you the link to go and fix the vulnerability doesn't mean you go and fix the vulnerability. Right? You don't do that on your own. This is something that needs to be agreed upon, maybe in a change management meeting. Right? But you don't make that call on your own unless you're the lead or something, but you should still get everybody's input. Because once again, has anyone validated this as a true positive or a false positive? Okay, and see that CVE number again, meaning we can go and look this vulnerability, this exploit up. All right, we can go get some more information about it. And it also tells you the systems that are vulnerable to this SMB vulnerability. Y'all got any questions?
No, we're still with you.
All right. Sorry, I was getting a drink of water. So this is one of the labs you're going to be doing tonight. all right, getting some exposure to vulnerability scans, feel free to just play around in it, right? After you complete the task, play around with it, run some scans, right? Try to create some reports, right? Add different targets, do other scans that's outside of what the exercise is asking you to do. See, I can extract this into a report right now. Hopefully it opens it up in my browser. Bet you it won't. I'm gonna try and open it up in a different format. There we go, but XML might be difficult for you all to read. But this is how XML is structured, right? It's just field and value. Here's a field, name is a field. The value for that field is O-line security full fast scan. Remember, this is the name of the scan that we gave it. All right, get some more information like a report ID. Right, I mean, this is the report. It's just structured in XML. Right, for some reason, HTML isn't opening right now. Maybe it's something I'm doing. Remember, here's the description, why it was vulnerable. Here's the score, severity of medium. But you could, I don't advise exporting it as an XML and sending it out to people, because you got to remember the people who are looking at this, they may not have the security experience you have. They may not be able to read XML.
So a spreadsheet would probably be better.
Yeah, spreadsheet or a PDF. Like your email security team, your endpoint security team, they'll probably take a CVS file, because they'll be able to take that CVS file and import it into their tools. But let's say you were managing hospitals and you wanted to tell the hospital about their vulnerabilities. I'd probably send them an XML file, as you mentioned, or a PDF. See, this right here is a CSV of the report. And all, if you don't understand what CSV and PDFs, well, should know what a PDF is. They're file extensions, right? A CSV file is just .csv. It's a type of file. XLS file is a .xls, a type of file. .doc or .pdf. They're just different types of file formats. Okay, so if you wanted to, these are the different formats you can export this entire report here, right? These are the results from that full and fast scan we did.
Can you print out or do a report just on the high one, or does it have to be all of them? Or it will only do all of them?
Now, that's a good question. You should be able to do one just on the high. I don't know if OpenVas has that feature. I don't know why not, but typically you can. All right, here it is.
Oh, there. Yeah.
So we can just export this, but I wonder if we can change. Let me see. It's going to do XML. I wonder if it's set by what we picked the first time. Oh, no. But yeah, you can here. And usually most of them do allow you to pick and choose. You can even change how the report is structured on some of them. Right? You can have different sections. You can have a cover page. You can have more descriptive terms or instructions for people to read as they're going through it. But OpenVas, it's a pretty cool one. It's still being used in production environments. This is why I really want you to practice with it, because this is being used in a lot of places. right, in their production environments to scan for vulnerabilities. Any questions, y'all? Anything from class that you wanted to talk about, or vulnerability scans? This Cyber Thursday may not be too long. Richard, did you still want to go through that lab?
I mean, we can, unless it's up to you. I mean, we can.
Okay. Now, I do want to give you a chance on that lab, at least a section or two.
Okay.
But if you all don't have any questions on this, we are going to switch over to a different lab. Let me check something. Okay. All right, Richard, I'm going to stop sharing and hand it over to you.
I have to share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Just to be clear, we're not taking notes for this part, right?
No, I mean, you can. You can. I would recommend it. But this is what she did yesterday in the lab. This is the I believe this is the packet capture lab. And since you all have a pretty long weekend, at least outside of class, I would definitely go back through all the labs that we've done this week, just so you can get more familiar with it. Like Sylvester said, perfection is the goal. I know we can't be perfect, but try to challenge yourselves to get better at doing these things. Muscle memory, right? Muscle memory, the walkthroughs are great for understanding and to help you build that muscle memory, because knowing why is an important part or factor for muscle memory.
If I were to load, okay, 1 minute.
It's all right. So I think this is the one we're using TCP dump, or is it Wireshark?
No, I think it's a Nmap and I think TCP. Yeah, we did. I don't think TCP done. I think it's Nmap.
Okay.
Where we were scan and identify network nodes.
Okay.
I think the second lab.
Yeah, I like Nmap a lot, man. I was telling you all that Tiberius, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but on YouTube, if you just go to his channel, he has a lot of different educational content, like pretty dope educational content. I like content like his. Right?
What's his name again?
Here, I'll chat it over to you all.
Okay, thank you.
I like content like his because, and it's not edited, right? It's just it's a class like this one, right? If he messes up, you can watch him to see how he fixes that issue. If there's something wrong, you can see the solution. And that's one of the most important parts in the field, is being able to fix something. Everybody knows how to use it when it's working, but can you fix it when it's not working, or when it's not doing what you're expecting it to do? So I'm going to post it in our channel here so you all got it. Oh yeah, it's a 1 before his name.
Good question. How many labs were supposed to be completed this week?
I can't remember right now. I'm gonna count and
I think it's like each, what, after class, each lab we do, is it, or
I
it's
know
just,
I know the first two classes we had to do the same lab, and then the lab from yesterday and the lab from today, so it should be 3.
I thought the lab from yesterday had 2 parts.
yeah, it
did
was.
2 parts.
So it might be 4, maybe. It might be 4. I think today is the 4th one. But that's his YouTube channel. I just posted in there. He has a get repo where he posts all his map scans. That auto recon is dope, man. I'm trying to tell you. All right, let's go. Let's do it, Richard.
all right, okay, so this lab is about scanning and identifying network nodes. That's the purpose of this lab. A network node is a connection point inside a network that can receive send or store data. For example, switches and routers, cell phones, or computer. So I know the last couple of days we talked about IP addresses, command like ping, ipconfig, nmap. So in this lab, we're going to use a lot of those commands to identify network nodes and nmap as well.
Good job, man.
All right, so on this section, we're going to log in. Okay, I'm already logged into Kali Linux. So we're going to run the first command, ifconfig. Oh, I have to log in. I have to open the terminal. All right, so for the first command, we're going to run ipconfig. It's just used to find IP addresses on the network.
And that's to find your IP address.
Right, right. Okay, so let's see over here. This would be the IPv4 address.
Go up. That's your local host. So
That's
you want to
okay.
get ETH0, the first one, all the way up.
Wait. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, there you go. All right, this one right here, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Good job.
And then this would be the IPv6 address.
Yep.
And then this is the broadcast address. So this will be, what address would this be? That's the Ether.
That's your MAC address.
That's the MAC address. Okay, okay. All right. And then we're gonna run an IP. We're gonna run another command.
And you all, before you run IPA, what's the difference? It's not a trick question. What's the difference between ifconfig and IP?
I think it's the same thing.
Yeah.
One's for Mac. Oh yeah, say one's for Linux and then one's for Windows.
Right. And ipconfig is for Windows.
Mm-hmm. ifconfig is for.
Right. And then this IP and ifconfig, they're both going to do the same thing.
Yeah, they run the same thing.
Right.
So for number 5, the question, what is the IP address for the Ether0 adapter of the Kali Linux virtual machine? So that would be its IP address.
So right here under IP, when you run IPA,
right,
your IP address is going to be next to INET. So not that one, because that's under.
Not this one.
That's your local host. Okay. That's still on your loopback address right there, ETH0.
Oh.
So go down. There you go.
With this right here.
Yep.
Okay.
So some people like IF config over IPA because it's just structured more, but they're both going to give you the same information. You may be able to find the IP quicker with if config.
Mm-hmm.
You're just starting out, but they're both going to do the same thing.
But they're different commands, but they do the same thing.
Yeah.
All right, so 192.
Dot zero. You forgot the zero.
Missing 0. Okay.
I think that should be good.
It's, oh, all right. Okay, so the next command, we're gonna run an IP route show. It just shows you the routing protocol that was used to select the route.
Right.
In that case, that would be the default gateway.
Right.
That's the route. That's the path that was used to send the information.
Right.
Time. Sure.
Okay. You got that. Don't forget to copy that.
Right. That's the default address right here. So this would be the local address, right?
No, that's the range. That's a network
range.
range right there.
Okay. All right. So so the question here is what is the IP address of the router? So that would be the 10.1.0.0.
Go ahead and put it in. Let's see what you get. What do you guys think?
Oh man, I think that's wrong.
What do you guys think?
Wouldn't it be the default via number?
Mm,
Let's see.
What do you? Oh, hold on.
Oh.
So what you typed in is the range. So that's a range of IPs right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go ahead and grab what system are we on right now? We're on Linux. What's it?
Yes, or Linux.
Okay. Yeah. So go ahead and grab the default.
Default address.
No, the one above that. The 254.
10. Okay, 254.
Because didn't you put the
Wait, I
192
thought-
up earlier?
Yeah, I thought that was the one that I put. Okay, maybe I was looking at 10.1.0 that. Oh yeah, I did. 254.
There you go.
Um,
There you go. But does that make sense? What you have highlighted right now, currently highlighted, and we didn't get into that yet, right? This is just week one, but that's a network range, all right? And I'll explain Saturn notation when we get into it.
all right. So the next command, the ARP command.
And what's ARP doing, y'all?
It's just to resolve the IP
Local,
address of the
local
system.
network.
Local
It scans
address.
the local address. Oh.
Yep. It's giving you your local addresses. This is just a table.
Right.
It stores local addresses.
Hey,
So,
this is where I was having the issue at, but for some reason it just randomly started working, and I didn't change anything at all. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. So that's
You
not
said-
right there.
You said it wasn't working.
At first it wasn't working, but I literally just did the same thing all over again. I don't know. I just rebooted the terminal, and it just worked. I don't know what was up with that.
Go.
All right. All right. So for the next command, we're gonna run IP neighbor. The IP neighbor is just the same as the ARP command.
Yeah. think we forgot an H.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so Net Discover. Net Discover is just like Nmap. Okay, well, it's not just like Nmap, but Net Discover can do similar things that Nmap can do. Right? Nmap can scan your network for available hosts. We just did a scan. What was the name of that scan? Where we were looking for available hosts.
Was in the Nmap we used? Sorry.
It was on the vulnerability
Right.
scanner.
Credential scanning.
Close. We ran a scan on the vulnerability scanner to find other hosts.
Discovery?
The ping command?
Discovery scan.
Okay.
And the discovery scan can use, I mean, essentially it is pinging another system to see if it's online. So yeah. So that's what you're doing with this Net Discover command. You're trying to see what other systems are online.
So basically just scanning the networks within that IP address, the /24.
Right, within that range.
Okay. Is that a 1?
No, it's I. So that -I, you're selecting
Yeah.
the interface that you want to scan on or scan from. So you're selecting ETH0.
And then the R, is that the range?
Yep, good job.
So how many local hosts was found?
It's still running.
It's still
It's finished.
Wait, it's still running.
I think it's still giving.
Earlier, when I did it earlier, it was 5.
It took a while.
Yeah, it's like
I think, yeah, like he was saying the system was slow, or maybe it takes that long.
Yeah, I think it's still spitting out the results because the cursor is still highlighted. But you go ahead and put in 5. We know it's 5.
Yeah, I thought it wasn't working and restarted the whole thing. It took forever.
All right, I guess we're gonna exit
Yeah.
this section. All right. So we're gonna switch to what? Windows?
Yep.
Windows virtual
This is your
machine.
domain controller.
Right.
The domain controller.
The commands are a lot easier to read on
The
Windows.
output on Windows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they are structured a little bit neater.
All right. So I'm gonna. All right. I always get confused with what. Okay.
There you go. And so on Windows servers, this application right here, the server manager,
Mm-hmm.
it usually pops up, it opens up on startup. All right. So that's how you know you're on a server.
Okay.
Usually, right? Unless you can disable that.
All right. So we're gonna run the first command, ipconfig command.
And what's that going to do? Anybody? What's ipconfig going to do?
Give you
Show
the
us our
IP
IP address.
Did I hear external IP address?
No, your
No.
IP address.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good job, yo. I was messing with you.
All right. So this is the IPv4 address. Oh, so much easier to read. The subnet mask address, the default gateway.
Yeah.
So what's the question? What's the IP address? Okay, so this will be, so the IPv4 is the address, is the IP address
Yep.
that we're looking for.
right? This is only day 4, y'all. Some of you, this is your first time looking at this, right? I want you to definitely give yourselves a pat on the back. All right, this is day 4, new field, new experience, new commands, new terminal, new everything. Don't beat yourselves up too much, right? Still hold yourselves accountable, but get more comfortable with this. Keep doing these, right? IP config, this should be a command that you run. Well, eventually it may be a command you run all the time, right? Get familiar with the output. Challenge yourself. What is default gateway? Just go Google it. What is a subnet mask? Just go Google it. Get familiar with these things. Get familiar with the output. Get familiar with it on the Linux and Windows operating systems. Not just because I'm saying it, not just because of a certificate, but because you actually want to learn the language of the field, right? Or become better at a certain field that you want to get into. This is how you get better. You have to practice. There is no skill or any position in this field where you just don't have to practice, right? If you want to get better, especially if you want to get paid more, right? If money motivates you, then learn, right? Because the more you learn, the more that you're able to do and able to fix, the more money you make, right? If flexibility motivates you, then become a subject matter expert in something where you can demand flexibility, right? So just try.
All right, so for this command, the pat ping command, it's used to test the network connection between the source and the destination. Basically just from point A to point B, like from start to finish.
What does this command sound like?
Trace the route.
There you go. Good job. Right, and the output is very similar, or at least looks similar to the trace route output.
So which one takes longer?
I don't know. You talking about between trace route and path ping?
Right.
I don't know. I never thought about that.
Oh. I know it was 0% early. Okay. So what percentage of packets were lost during this test? 0.
Sure.
All right, so we'll move to the next section.
Quick question.
Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
So if I wanted to just try, instead of putting path ping and IP address, if I put in trace route and that same IP address, it should essentially give you the same information, right? Or
Yeah,
no?
it should.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, you can go ahead and try it, Richard, if you don't.
All right. Try trace a route.
Yep.
All right.
How would you write it on Windows though? The trace route or
Trace RT.
there you go.
Trace RT.
And then the IP address.
Yep. 10.1. 10.1. Oh no, you got a space. Yep.
Yeah. 10.1.
.0. Dot
.1.
1.
.0.
.192. That one was quicker, but
Yeah, that was quicker.
so
But
yeah.
it doesn't show the percentage loss.
It doesn't show the percentage loss.
Right. So path. So what are we learning here between the two?
Path ping is more detailed.
There we go.
Yeah.
So it depends on what you're looking for, then you use the appropriate one.
Somebody sounds like they're thinking.
Oh.
I love it. Hey, This class is dangerous. I've said it on day 2. This is a
All
good
right.
class. All classes are good, by the way. Don't throw rocks at me, guys.
All right, we're gonna switch back to Linux. And then okay, this is where we actually use the mmap. We're gonna use the mmap command.
Oh, there goes the late bird. You can just hit Control C to get out of that, or the Q. Q to quit, maybe.
Yeah, I think Q doesn't work. Oh, okay. All right.
Don't say anything, guys.
When I typed something wrong. Oh, okay.
There you go.
I typed it wrong.
There you go. I wanted you to catch that. And in Linux, sometimes they give you a good a nice reason why it's not working. This time they did. They said command not found. Sometimes they'll say command not found, and it's really a permission issue. So you just did an mmap scan on your system.
Right. So over here, I can see there's an open port TCP, which is a SSH.
Port 22.
Port 22. Sorry. So that's the port we're looking for.
Mm-hmm. And we haven't learned about this yet, y'all. Right? Ports and networking. But we will. Oh, trust me, we will.
All right. So we're gonna scan. We're gonna run another nmap scan on this IP address. /4.
So now what you're about to do,
Mm.
remember when we were running NetDiscover?
Right.
You were doing a scan on the range
Right.
using NetDiscover. You're doing the same thing here.
But on the IP address.
Right. And in addition, no. So you're doing the same thing regardless, right? You're doing a scan on the network range right here, just like you were doing in NetDiscover.
Right.
But in addition, you're also doing a port scan.
Okay.
So you just scanned multiple IDs for open ports just now.
And there's still there's 3 ports open.
Oh,
it's 2. It's 2.
So, but those are different systems, though. Look at it. Look at the IP.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Oh, I see a lot of ports that are open.
Yeah. So.
Wow, a lot.
So this is all the ports that it found open right there. If you keep scrolling down, all right, stop right here. These are ports for this system. All right, go down. Keep going. Okay, now we have a new system. Right, you can see, stop right here. You have this system, you have this system, and then there's another system here. All these ports are on that system. All these ports are on this system. All these ports are open on this system. You just scanned all these systems with one line. You just look for all, well, you did a very basic port scan on it.
All right, so we're gonna do another scan. I wasn't sure what this command does exactly.
So this right here is called a stealth scan. Hey, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure this is the default command that Splunk, that Nmap uses to run. Like even if you don't have this there, it's doing a stealth scan. I'm pretty sure. And I'll explain what it is.
Yeah, you said that yesterday, that it was a default scan.
Okay.
It sends the packet to his target.
The stealth scan. So I'll explain it. I'll wait. Let me wait, because it's not tricky, but we haven't gone over the three-way handshake. So here it is. Hit Control L for me. If you all haven't noticed, it's hard for me to not answer a question. I try not to, but I always have to. So a stealth scan, you have this annotation thing. It's annoying. And it's going to be hard to tell you how to take it off, so forget it. All right, if we have this computer here, right? If you want to connect, well, let's just make it more simple. We have two people. This is Courtney. This is going to be Keith. All right, if Keith wants to reach out to Courtney, he can do it in two ways. The first way is a FaceTime call, right? He just calls. He doesn't worry about whether or not Courtney's on the other line. She picks up the FaceTime, and all of Keith's video, his audio messages, his screen, his picture, his camera, it's just going to Courtney. If Courtney loses connection, Keith's data doesn't stop going. You know, when you're on FaceTime and it's reconnecting, but the other person is still talking and talking and talking and talking, but you can't hear them, right? That's because their connection doesn't care if you're on the other side or not. It's just going to keep sending the data over and over and over, right? That's the simple one. It's called UDP. It's really simple. It's connectionless. It doesn't care who's on the other end. I'm going to send data. That's FaceTime. Okay, the other one is where we get this SYN scan thing. So the other one is a connection-based scan. That's called TCP. And we'll talk about this, guys. We just haven't gotten there yet. But TCP, before Keith sends anything to Courtney, he's going to make sure she's there. So he's first going to send a packet that has a SYN flag turned on. I had a brain fart.
It's a three-way handshake.
Yes. It's going to send that over. And then Courtney is going to respond, right? This is a hello message. Hey, Courtney, are you there? So I can send you messages. Courtney responds with, do you know what it is, Richard?
Yeah, I'm here.
The SYN ACK flag. Right? She's going to send a packet with a SYN ACK flag. This flag is saying, hey, Keith, I got your SYN flag. Yes, I'm here. What's up? And then Keith responds back with an ACK flag.
ACK flag.
Saying, okay, thank you for responding. Stand by. I'm going to start sending you data. This is like when you call somebody on the phone. If Keith calls Courtney, he's not going to start talking until Courtney says, hey, what's up? Right? Until he knows Courtney's on the other line. This is the three-way, the TCP handshake. Now with this SYN flag, we just said we need to send this. Courtney responds back with this. We send this. With this right here, what's happening is Keith is sending Courtney SYN flags. Courtney responds back with a SYN ACK flag, remember? What is Keith supposed to send back to her?
HCK.
ACK?
The HCK.
Yes. Keith is supposed to send an ACK flag back to her. Courtney has a door open, waiting for that ACK flag to come back. Keith says, forget you. I'm not going to send it. I'm not sending it. You know what he sends? Another SYN flag. And you know what Courtney does? She sends back a SYN ACK. And she opens up another door waiting for another ACK flag. Okay, so this is supposed to be a stealth scan because we don't finish the three-way handshake. Does it make sense? It's not fully completed. We're stopping at this, right? We're doing a halfway scan, right? We're not fully connecting to you. Before we do the Nmap scan, we're just going to do a halfway connection, right? It's supposed to be a stealth scan. Okay, but we're going to talk more about that. This is also another way to crash Courtney's system. It's called a SYN Flood Attack.
SYN Flood Attack.
Yeah, by just sending SYN, because she's going to keep opening doors. It's resources. She's going to keep using more and more and more and more resources, waiting for that ACK flag. But my bad, let's get back to Nmap, man. Let's do this and let's wrap this section up. You guys got to stop doing this to me. So did
All right,
the scan yet?
Did I? I thought I did.
Oh yeah, you did. I'm tripping.
Yeah, I did. All right, so the question is, what services are running on the virtual machine?
And you all are probably going to get this one wrong because we haven't done ports. Yeah.
The SSH and the domain, isn't that that's the web server, the web services, right?
No, domain.
Email.
Domain.
Email.
No, D.
No,
DNS.
DNS. Sorry, DNS. Sorry, DNS.
There you go.
All right, so for this command, we're gonna run an nmap. Another nmap command.
So the -SS, that's a stealth scan. The -A, this is an aggressive scan. Right? It's like an intrusive scan. It's trying to get as much information as possible. Doesn't care if it gets detected or not.
A lot of information.
It's going to try and get the operating system. It's going to try and guess the services that are running on here.
All right, so the question is, what operating system is running on the host? That'll be Linux.
Yep, there you go, right there. Says serve, yep, OS operating system running Linux. There you go. And it's giving it a best guess, right? It's the best guess based off of different fingerprints.
All right, so with this command, right, it's the ports between 20 and 200, within 20 and 200.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's doing a range, Nmap -P. So you can pick which ports you want to scan with -P. All right, you can do 20, 21, 23, 24, 25. You can do a range.
All right, so once you know port 20, port 80 is open. Let's see. Yes, is open. So what's the difference for this command? What does it mean when it says top ports?
So the top 20 ports. So you pick how many ports that you wanted to scan for. So top 20 is going to scan the top 20 ports. You can do top 100, top 25, top 50, top 1,000 ports. It's just limiting or filtering for ports, whichever number you give it, X amount of ports you give it.
But who or what decides which ones are top?
There you go.
So there are top 25 ports, right? Like the more default common ports, some of the things that you're going to be learning in class, like port 22, port 80, port 443, the most common ports, right? And those are more common because those services that are being used are more common, right? Web services, that's going to be in the top 25 ports, right? Because there's almost a publicly available web server everywhere. SSH is a very well-known port. Port 21, still very well-known, even though it's unencrypted traffic, because we can encrypt it and do other mitigating factors. But the top ports are really based off of the services. And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's where it's based off of how commonly used those services are.
The port numbers can be different depending on the system, right? Because like you said, port 22, port 80, that's for this specific system. Or are those just like
That's
common numbers that are used everywhere?
right. That's a great question. And yes, those are just the common port numbers for those services. Okay. So SSH, it's the default port. I should say default, not common. The default port for SSH is port 22. The default port for DNS is 53. The default port for web services is 443 or port 80. Right? And this is going to make a lot more sense when we go reports and protocols. Good question, Diva.
Yeah.
And you see, he scanned the top ports, and you can see the ones that I named are definitely getting scanned: the 21, the 22s, the 23s, the 53s,
Yeah.
the 80s, the 443s.
But they're
And these are
close.
ports that you need to know for your exam, by the way. Those top
Mm.
20 ports, those are all ports we're going to talk about.
Port
Right?
80.
Not 80 or 5.
Yeah, it's just proxy. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna run another scan.
Now this is
Mhm.
the equivalent of that net discover scan, this right here. See, this is only going to scan this range or ping IPs in that range to see if they're available.
Mhm.
That's what the SYN switch does. Those dashes are known as switches, y'all, right? Different options you can select for your command.
All right. So once you know which server is configured as an email,
It says which server is configured as an email
as
server.
an email server.
Which one did you scan? So check this out. You see, and I'll make this simple though, but you just did a range scan, right? You just did a network sweep. In it, here I'll highlight it. Go back down. These are the, yes, stay right there. These are the options: PC1, LX1, DC1, blah blah blah.
Right.
These are the hosts. They're also the options that you just scanned. Right? What I would do, I mean, I know the answer, but what I would have done to challenge myself to get this answer is just do another Nmap scan on each of these, but you already did it at the top, right? The first command you did. So the answer is, if you go ahead and do an Nmap scan on, because look, yeah, they're looking for the default SMTP port. Where is that open? Which server is that open on? So scroll down. And I'm just doing this a little bit the more challenging way. So let's go ahead and scan this guy. Do an nmap scan on that, a normal nmap scan.
That's the 10.1.0.2, right?
Yep. Do an aggressive scan. Y'all, how would he change this to make it an aggressive scan?
-A, right?
There we go. Capital A.
Oh, capital, okay.
All right, let's run that.
So what about the lowercase a?
I've never
Would that
tried
be-
it with it. I don't think it'll work. We can definitely try it after this. You can open up a new tab and try it if you want. But always do that, right? Anytime you want to know if something will work a different way, just try it.
Okay.
Because it's either going to work or it's not going to work. Aggressive scans are going to take, I should have just did a normal scan, but aggressive scans take a little bit longer because it's more intrusive. You're trying to get more information. So would this be an active or passive scan?
Passive.
Active. I almost want to cancel this out and all right, there you go. All right, we just scroll up. Go up to the ports. Up. Boom. There you go. Port 25.
Some TP. It's email. Okay.
Open.
So wait, so you scan the IP address based on the report, right? Based on this report?
What's your question?
Did you scan this IP address based on this report? Based on that particular
No. I scanned the IP because the question said, which of these systems has this port open?
Okay.
So I already knew which one it was, but what you could have done was just scan each of them again.
Okay.
They're in this range, right?
Yeah.
All you had to do was run this same command, but just take this out. And it would have scanned all the IPs in this range for open and closed ports. That's the same command you did at the beginning of the lab.
Okay.
But I'm gonna let you give that a try later. Does anybody else have any questions?
No, not at the moment.
Okay.
All right. So what was the answer to this one again? So DC
MS1.
MS1. Okay.
All right, y'all. Please go back over all those labs that you have. I want you to get as much practice as you can with them. I will see you all on Monday. Please study. Please hold on to your loved ones. Give them a kiss. And study, y'all. Cyber Thursdays. We'll be back again next week. Have a good one, y'all.
All right.
You
Thanks.